fought the rest, now try the best!
How do you feel about NA players? I mean, NA players are kind of in a tough spot. They really don't have no soldiers, and a lot of their top talent are uninterested in playing the game. Trizzy the Rapper, he came close to beating Arslan, and then he quit the game in Season 2, and he quit for months. And then he came back, and he's playing Armor King, and he's doing really great. I think he came like very high place in the online tournament, but he still isn't like, you know, really out there like he was in Season 1. That's just one player, right? You have a lot of other, like, for example, the best Yoshi player, thank you for subscribing, the best Yoshi player of NA quit. Bro currently has the game uninstalled. The best Yoshi of NA has the game uninstalled right now. NA is not in a good spot. Ninja Killer is one of their greatest soldiers, but he calls himself a casual. He's like, nah, I kind of don't really care. Like, sometimes Ninja Killer seems like he really cares, but then sometimes he's like, nah. And then the thing too, this is what Spaghetti Rip was saying, they are struggling, one, to find someone who's good enough to compete, two, finding someone who's dedicated, three, their whole entire like scene is just in complete disarray with how much it costs, with the amount of excuses, with the amount of like just uncertainty. Their scene is really bad, and that's really a problem for all of Tekken, because the times when Tekken sold the most copies or had the most viewership is when an American player was dominating. Who's the Little Majin of Tekken 8? Who's the Anakin of Tekken 8? Who's the Shadow of Tekken 8? I mean, the Shadow of Tekken 8 is probably King Ray Jr., but what else? We haven't had that big explosive moment from an American. And honestly, Super Akuma was carrying hard too, because EU is very, very important as well, and they have a lot of soldiers over there, they have a lot of warriors over there, but Super Akuma was just like super entertaining to watch. He had that villain character Akuma. He really brought a certain level of like energy to the game, and the EU players, they are dominant, they are winning a lot, they're competing, they're strong, but none of them are really bringing that like fire like that. That's NA's problem. Now the solution is to try to find the most dedicated and the most skilled. It's going to be tough between those two, right? Think of it like stats, right? Let's say 10 out of 10 skill and 10 out of 10 dedication. That currently doesn't exist. Joe Crush and like Ninja Killer are the 10 out of 10 skills, but their motivation or their dedication is like at like a 4 or a 6. But then when you look at some of the people who's committed to playing, they may have a 10 out of 10 like commitment, but then their skill is like the Moonsault Slayer could give them a run for their money. You know what I mean? The Moonsault Slayer can make them sweat. It's going to be difficult. Why not Joe Budden? I mean, Joe Budden is a contender, but Joe Budden, he is more so interested in content creation. He's kind of fallen victim to what everybody else fall victim to. You know, his stream is popular, his YouTube is popular, and he's a content creator now, right? Now, obviously, Joe Budden is still very motivated because he's smart enough to realize that if he was to win a tournament like Evo, he would become even more popular. So he does have that strive there. Like, that is motivation for him. Like, if you win Evo Vegas, that's a guaranteed like 10,000 subscribers. Everyone who's done really well in tournaments have a lot of subscribers. VDX, he made his like real breakthrough beating Arslan, right? That's how he got so known. Anakin, so known. Lil Majin, you know, like a lot of the people who do well in tournaments, they go on to have good careers, but then once again, that once again amplifies that dedication, right? That's why it's dangerous for someone like Joe Budden, is because, like, you know, if Joe Budden hit 200,000 subscribers, like a FDX or something, would he still want to be better than the Pakistani players? Because everyone who had those numbers of subscribers, they pull off the gas pedal. I'm not knocking them or anything. It's just like you made it, basically. You made it to your destination. So it's like, you know, you don't need to grind like that anymore, right? So that's the thing, is like Joe Budden is like really loving the content creation aspect, and he is trying to use tournaments to build his content platform. But once he does that, what comes next? We can only look at the past examples of all the other pro players who use tournaments to build their platform. When they made it, they quit. They either do commentary now, they either just do restreams now. But that, you know, tournament competitive era where FDX is rivaling Arslan, it doesn't happen anymore. Why do you think the uninterest is coming from NA players? Everyone is upset about the game, but the NA players are like, quit. No other region is quitting. Soon as Tekken 8 went bad in Season 2, that's when it all fell apart for NA. All fell apart. And it never recovered. Knee's been set for life for like a decade, and he still competes. So there is examples of it, but when you focus on the NA players, there's not that many examples of NA players having a massive platform, but still, I mean, name one. Name a American player who has a successful content platform and competes as if they have 0 subs. The US is big and a little hard to travel. 2, US pockets are very far. 3, US Tekken players don't travel. 4, Tekken players have a long history of not holding the belt. Motivation slacks. Those are all good points. It's funny because, you know, NA is considered like the stupid people who don't know anything about anything. But one thing that EU, that I see at least, is that EU never really comprehends how big America is. It's much harder for people to travel around because everything is so much more spaced out. It stretches across a whole continent. It's really big. And that big equals a little less connected. So when you're talking about Tekken players, that's one reason why they commit to online so much. Because people say LOL, NA online, LOL, but you're kind of forced. Pakistan has these like cities. They have like cities that are like hotbeds for Tekken. Everyone in that city plays Tekken. And then in Korea and Japan, their infrastructure. You can hop on a train in Japan and go pretty much anywhere in a short amount of time. America, bro, if you want to go one place or another, America, if you want to travel like 4 or 5 cities over, it's going to take you 2 hours. Are you guys familiar with the YouTube channel Not Only Bikes? They talk about the difference. In EU, you could get around with bikes and like trains like very easily. Everything is super close. And then in America, you have a lot of stroads. The guy, he makes fun of stroads a lot. That's mostly in suburbs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's spread out, right? So that's the hurdle with America, which is why so many people gravitate to online. But then online is not a true representation of skill, because also in America, the online is trash. The solution, send one of these players to Pakistan for a boot camp. The idea is, and we'll see whether or not it fully develops. I contacted someone and told them if they need my help, I'll give it to them. But the idea is America only tournament, where you could travel to that tournament, and then if you win that tournament, you get a free, like, basically trip to Pakistan to participate in the boot camp. And then also you got to talk about the political climate and the never-ending wars, and you know, it's a lot that's going on right now. Chat GPT said winning 5k USD as a Pakistani is like an American winning 12k in today's economy. Yeah, that's good. I mean, there's also people like Daigo who became the GOATs like 20 years ago, and he's still competing. I like to highlight the difference between Street Fighter and Tekken, because Street Fighter doesn't seem to have these problems. Like, they have a lot of good NA players. He talked too much, not to, but people in other countries don't take their foot off the pedal. Why can't we do the same? I don't know. But that's what we're talking about, right? We're getting deeper into the why NA doesn't compete. And we're really trying to find, like, 1, what's the root of the problem? And then 2, how do we, you know, evolve from this? That's what a lot of people are thinking about right now. True, in Pakistan, most Tekken players are in Lahore and Islamabad. So for people who are not in that city, it takes 4 to 6 hours. But the people who are in that city, it's just boom. To not just talk about it or make fun of it, but like people really want to see, you know, Tekken survive, right? People understand how important it is for NA to be good, EU to be good, Pakistan to remain good. You know, there's people out there who really get it, and they're like, we gotta do something about this. This is a crisis for NA right now. NA finally accepted Tekken as a party game. Only took them years. Who's the new generation of NA pros? A lot of pros have been playing professionally since Tekken 5 DR, right? In Pakistan and EU, we can see their new competition. In America, it's a little bit harder to see who's the young American guys. Of course, you have King Ray, who's like, you know, one of the leaders of the next generation. I don't know how young Joe Budden is or old Joe Budden is, but he's kind of one of the new guys, right? Once again, though, I think it goes back to this idea of how big America is. You may have a little kid who's motivated and who's passionate, but then they have to tell their parents, take me 5 hours to this event, or get on a plane ride to this event. Who's going to do that in this economy? So that's probably why we don't see it for America. Versus in Japan and EU, it's a train ride, and they're used to being on trains all day. Let's go to a 30-minute train ride to, you know, this art museum. Let's go to a 30-minute train ride to this Tekken tournament. It's no big deal for them. their infrastructure is amazing. No matter how I feel about Joe Budden, I'm not a hater. He could and should be the future of Tekken if he won a major or Evo or any kind of major. Yeah, I love Joe Budden as well. This is why I'd be so upset when Joe Budden be losing and sandbagging and doing losing in like stupid ways. He definitely could go on to be one of the greats, bro. He can. I see it. When he first threw that toilet paper at that tournament, I saw potential. I was like, this guy's different. He gets the whole idea of going viral, but also still being good at the game, using all of that to grow your own platform. And then when he started streaming and his streams was popping off the way it was, cause I was in his streams when he had like 30 viewers. I don't think I caught the exact first one, but I was like there like within the first month. And I was like, I interviewed him like as soon as I could. So it's like now, fast forward all these months later, when I see him like sandbagging or throwing a match, like losing to Dracula, like I think that's a sandbag, bro. Him losing to Dracula, bro, I don't know what he's doing there. There's no way you go from beating Ulsan, Bilal to losing to Dracula. Dracula's like my skill level. And short-term remedy is to put our players in other regions. Unfortunately, Pakistan is cheap, close-knit, a good chance to learn. Long-term, we have to put our money better use all levels. Players should invest in their growth and need sponsors to act as leaders. Region flourish. Yeah, exactly. And I also think the pro players need to do a better job. Pro players need to do a better job of advertising themselves. This is something that Arsenal and Ash was told, because you know they do Evo awards for like player of the year and stuff like that, and Arslan didn't win, and he was saying that he felt he should have won. And one of the feedbacks he was given from someone is that he has to be more of an entertainer, right? He has to like wow Twitter, wow the internet, market himself better. And I think a lot of pro players don't do that. A lot of pro players, you only know them if you're like deep into Tekken. Think about Shadow. Shadow goes to how many tournaments? And what is the last thing that Shadow has done that's like been entertaining? They gotta do the Joe Budden, and they gotta, you know, entertain the camera a little bit. When an NBA player slam the ball in the hoop, they flex for the camera and then they lock back in. That's all that I'm saying. The pro players, they just play defense. Where's the pop off? It seems like most players have zero charisma. I think that they are so used to just competing in tournaments to where they never even thought about like being entertaining. Joe Budden is not your average player. He hasn't been competing for 15 years, going all the way back to Tekken 5. He just started competing, and he's been on the sidelines watching the whole time. He's been watching the pop-offs. He's been watching the hype moments. He's been on the viewing side, the spectator side, for the whole entire time. And the things that he finds entertaining is like people like key charging and being toxic and, you know, getting crazy. So when he starts participating in tournaments, what does he do? He do the things that made him light up inside when he was watching tournaments. I think we hopefully will see more people do that. In Street Fighter, they all do it, bro. In Street Fighter, they all be popping off for the camera. But in Tekken, they just act like the camera's not even there. And it's crazy, too, because you be having, like, thousands of people watch. Like, when I think about the Little Majin match, can't you guys visualize the Little Majin smile he did for the camera? Can't you guys visualize Little Majin stomping around the stage? I can visualize it all these years later. And when I think about some of these other guys winning tournaments, I can't do that. The world is watching, you know. Thank you for the ration, Blade. Yes, sir. Big Blade with the biggest blade. I mean, you guys are making an argument for no personality on stage. Think about how exciting this would be if Atif and Lohai did this.
Acknowledging the fact that he's waiting for him on the stage.
Throw the bag.
He's getting ready.
Come on, that's all we're asking for. Look at the crowd. Like, I don't get why we're arguing against this. Again. All of a sudden, it's looking like a Taylor Swift concert. Everybody at the front of the stage, camera in the air. It looked like a Sabrina Carpet concert, a Billie Eilish. Shake hands after. Boom. What are we arguing? Oh my God, what are we arguing against? It's a brand risk. It's a brand risk. So you said, I don't think the US or EU are likely to dominate Tekken long term. And it's not just because their local scenes are weaker than Pakistan, Japan, or Korea. Those top players in California, Atlanta, London, Paris still have crazy expensive rent to pay. Tekken doesn't have 100 salary scholarships positioned. If you're gonna compete seriously, EU, US players often have to travel constantly, practice for years, and still maintain a normal job. If you want to train with all of the best players in the US, you would need to get on planes weekly. Versus Pakistan, Super Saiyans are all right next to each other. Tekken complexity makes it even harder. Street Fighter characters have like 30 moves. Characters can't have 200 plus moves. Endless matchup knowledge, unique 3D movement. There's over 16 ways just to get up off the floor. Getting great takes a huge amount of time, and staying great takes even more time. That time is even more costly in US and EU. I don't know if Atif would be the same Tekken demon if he was born in Atlanta. If I was to counter argument Dell here, I would probably say, why can Street Fighter do it? But then the answer to that would be that Street Fighter, their tournaments are big. They have more sponsors. I mean, their playership dwarfs ours. On Steam, even though Steam's isn't the end all be all, it's still a metric. Tekken 8 has 8,000. Street Fighter peaks at like 70,000. If we know that Tekken 8 with having 7,000 players on Steam, that translates to having 250,000 weekly players. What do you think the 70,000 players on Steam translates to for weekly players for Street Fighter? And that number would also translate very well to tournaments, to content viewership, to everything. So I think the best thing that Tekken players could do is advertise themselves better. When you do have the ability to travel, you have to not only try to win in that tournament, but you also have to try to make a name for yourself on the camera. Like Joe Budden, bro. He so far is the only person who truly understands that the internet is watching and the internet wants to be entertained. He is the only person who, when he gets on camera, he's putting on a show. Because you have me. I'm the Moonsaw Slayer, bro. I be yapping about everything. I'm constantly looking for content. I'm constantly looking for something. So you have the guy who wants the excitement and who will push your message. Joe Budden goes on stage, the Moonsaw Slayer is there like, okay, this a tweet. Let me put this out there. And I'm going to make you look good. I'm going to make you look good. I'm going to make sure people see it. I'm going to be glazing, mouth going to be wet. Bro, I'm going to do everything I can to help. You have it. You have it there. You just have to take advantage of it. When you get on stage, the whole world is watching, and we will support you. You can't go on stage and be a bot. You can't. Just one pop-off can make them famous. You don't have to do anything dangerous. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to do anything violent. This is just a very funny thing that Joe Budden did. Walking on stage with a jumpsuit and handcuffs. That's it. Lil Majin smiling to the camera. That's it. Super Akuma jumping 6 feet in the air. That's it.